have scouted for, and guaranteed it's going to be a tough situation. Yesterday, though, was really interesting. No one dropped Slurpee Swamp in our trios. We have 2 players dropping there today. We'll see if they 50-50 half split that loot or decide to fight. But as you can expect in competitive Fortnite, these players are widely dispersed all the way to their favorite drop spots throughout the map.
For sure. Now, I actually had a second to talk to Benji Fishy. I know that we saw the highlights a little bit earlier with his team yesterday and the grenade play that he made. So I was kind of joking around with him a little bit, and I said, you know, are you gonna pull out a great grenade play for me today? And he said he's gonna try. So we're definitely gonna have to take a look at that. But right now, we are looking at Jesse and Som, 2 of the favorites to win today's tournament. They've decided to drop a little bit outside of a major POI, which isn't a bad idea in solos now because we have the 100% chest spawn rates at every POI. These guys are able to actually drop away from major POIs and avoid engagements and really just go for those placement points.
Yep, Som played as his comfortable skin as well. Som, of course, 2nd place at the Fortnite World Cup, took home $1.8 million, but you heard the crowd react because Mr. Fresh Asian is on screen right now, the winner back-to-back of the Charity Pro-Am, and a big fight's gonna ensue. Minkin's gonna get taken out, and Mr. Fresh Asian starts us off with a bang.
Wow, that was absolutely unbelievable. Only the 3rd elimination so far this game, and it goes to Mr. Fresh Asian. The crowd definitely loved that one. Let's just take a look to see if Mr. Fresh Asian can keep up the momentum
he
from
knows he's
yesterday.
on screen right now.
Look
He's
at
smiling
him.
on us.
Let's see if Mr. Fresh Asian, can we get an emote? Oh, we're off camera now. Oh,
big shout out to
later.
Mr. Fresh Asian. And here's the one big storyline with him is he's known to play so incredibly aggressive. And that's actually a theme of the Australian New Zealand region in general. They actually currently hold the global record for most eliminations and most points in the Cash Cups. I believe that's held by Volks with over 120 points in Cash Cups. So expect the Australian New Zealand players to play aggressively. And the question was, with this, so much at stake and with so much pressure, are they going to keep that aggression up? Well, Mr. Fresh Asian proving that correct right now.
The difference, though, is, Fallout, is that when you're at home, you know, you're in the comfort of your own home, I think the ability to play a little bit more aggressively is there. When you're in a LAN setting, it may be your first LAN. For a lot of these guys, it definitely is. So they might actually be playing a little bit more reserved today, but either way, I know that we're going to have some incredible games. Here we see Cat just doing his thing, trying to get the mats up. All of these guys, their main focus at the beginning of the game is just going to get a loadout that they're comfortable with, farm up a little bit, avoid engagements for some of them, but for others like Mr. Fresh Asian, just go W key.
Go aggro, exactly. Aggro. W key, hold down that forward left thumbstick for some of our controller players out here, and AKA Forbes, excited to see what they can do. But right here is actually a good example. Blackouts was right next to Cat. Cat seemed to be playing aggressive as an Australian New Zealand player. Blackouts from South America, competing from Brazil, backs out of the fight and disengages. So slowly starting to prove that storyline correct. Again, that will be a key storyline, not just the aggression, the different play styles, but also this is a global affair. We have top teams and top players from all around the world, from Australia and New Zealand, of course. Keep an eye out for Volks, Legacy Zora, Link, Gubos, and Forbes. Of course, Parpy, the X2 twins, Jesse, Mr. Fresh Asian, so many great players competing. And on the North American side, you have Zate, Epic Whale. Both players placed top 4 in duos and solos competitions at the Fortnite World Cup. Season Elevate took home 3rd place at the Fortnite World Cup. Nyrox won the World Cup. So many great players here from around the world. Europe, South America, North America, and Australia, New Zealand, and Asia all represented.
Yeah, Nyrox did win the duos, so we're going to have to see how that translates over into his solo gameplay. A lot of these guys do come from duos, so we're going to have to see how they adapt to the solos. Not only adapt to playing solos, but also realizing that, you know, this is a new chapter, this is a new season. We've had so many things change since World Cup. I was talking a little bit earlier to Aussie Antics, and we both kind of agreed it's going to be very difficult to be able to predict who is going to actually win today. You know, we can look at Cash Cup performance, we can look at World Cup performance, but at the end of the day, anything can happen, which is, again, what I love absolutely about solos. Here we have Som over at Frenzy Farm using the corn to sneak away. Love that with the cape, he just looked extra ominous there. But we're over here to Drakons, again, another player coming out of the South America region, just one of 2 players represented from that region.
A lot of early fights being picked up here, so a lot of the aggression is coming through. We saw Drakons pick up 1, so that's 1 elimination for Drakons, 1 for Mr. Fresh Asian. And then we just saw one come in right there from Alice as well. You see Mr. Fresh Asian on screen right now up against Mao. Keep in mind there are some influencers playing in this tournament as well, just a few. Mitch Robinson, a professional football player here locally. You have Mao. You have quite a few other chances, who is Lachlan's brother competing in this tournament. I think Lachlan is also playing himself. So a lot of key names and influencers in the local scene. Oh, Mao was barely going to miss that one.
Unfortunate on that one. If he would have gotten that off, that would have been an excellent way to engage, especially having that RPG in his inventory to pressure as well. You can see that Kubos he's being very careful. He's trying to maintain a little bit of distance, but he also has a sniper. So we're going to have to see if he fires back. It looks as though he is going to say, no, thank you, sir. I am going to go over to risky reels, but Mao takes another shot, playing hyper aggressive this early in the game. Do you think it's a good idea for these guys to be doing this follow?
I do. I do. I think you stick to what your guns, stick to what works for you online. I think one of the biggest mistakes that players make, especially inexperienced players, is you practice for hours and hours and hours. That's great, but it really goes to waste if you come to LAN and play completely differently than all the repetition you got. Muscle memory is a thing. You have to play with the same play style as you play online. Of course, there's some differences. You're playing with better players. Australian, New Zealand players haven't played in a stacked lobby with the best players from around the world like they are now. So there are some differences, but you got to stick to your guns in my eyes.
No, that's excellent advice for sure. I remember at the World Cup when I was there doing interviews, there were a couple of players that actually took off their shoes, and when I asked them about it, they said, well, I don't play in shoes at home, so why would I play in shoes here? And I'm like, well, that's actually an excellent point. You know, you got to make yourself feel as comfortable as you can, especially in an environment where nerves are going to be running a little bit higher than usual. You know, your heart's going to be elevated. So, you know, if these guys are wanting to take off their shoes, it's great. We're just going to have to worry about the smell maybe later.
Yeah, that would be a little bit rough. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good call. And some players play super far back from their monitor on controller. Some play in front of their monitors. You want to emulate that same style of play. And of course, as things are slowing down here, we'll take a moment. Of course, this is the Australian Opens. We probably have a lot of parents, people watching competitive Fortnite for the first time. So welcome to what has been a worldwide phenomenon. What's happening right now are these players dropped on an island are gathering as many materials so they can build and gathering as many weapons as they can. There's going to be a storm that's going to close a circle and force engagements or fights in different areas of the map every single game. And of course, those fights will then ensue. The last player standing will win. And of course, the way the points work, for every elimination you get, every time you eliminate someone from the map, you get a point. You also get points for placement. If you get first place, you get a nice, hefty amount of points as well.
Yeah, and placement for today's format is a little bit different than yesterday. So for Victor Royale, you're going to get yourself 10 points. 2nd through 5th is going to be 7, 6th through 15th is going to be 5, and 16th through 25th is going to be 3. So it's the exact same format as the solo cash cups, which is what a lot of these guys are very used to playing. Looks as though Volks did get tagged up there. He is going to take a second to box up and consume some of those shields that he has. Worthy is over. Look at how many players we have actually rotating over here from Weeping Woods. So you do see here that, you know, the storm is starting to move, but because there's no mobility, these guys are having to make early rotations, and unfortunately, Worthy is going to take a little bit more damage. We're going to see a huge engagement come to a head right here.
Yep, this is where it gets interesting. Every player is on a similar path trying to get to that next circle, and typically they'll bump heads or run into each other, and some fights will be forced, and that's where we mentioned aggression versus non-aggression. Some players just want to survive to late game. They don't want to have anything to do with fights. Some players want to go for those elimination points. That's the beautiful thing about Fortnite. Anyone, no matter what your play style, controller, keyboard and mouse, aggressive, not aggressive, can play and can win based on the different point system and their style of play. So we'll expect that to come through. Maddie's son on screen right now, a member of Gen G, who is one of our female players competing today. I'm excited to see what she can do alongside her teammate, Tina Reyes.
Yeah, she is here, like you said, from Gen G with her teammate, Tina. Tina actually ended up winning the Fortnite Twitch Rivals tournament. She also was named MVP, so she is here looking to take home some of that prize pool as well. We see Zora here getting grenaded and actually having to rebuild. Gets down to 15 health. He's going to have to box up here and think quickly.
And this could be tragic for Legacy's Zora, top player in this tournament, undoubtedly. Puts himself in a pretty bad spot, and someone, that's Volks actually, his teammate, his peer in the Australian side, another top player that is hunting, recognizes that Zora is tagged up right now. So in my eyes, Volks needs to continue to play aggressive here. The storm is going to be closing in momentarily, so he has to go fast.
Yeah, and he's not going to have to give him a chance at all to get any more minis off. Volks takes Zora out with that shotgun shot, completely dominating. He's going to pick himself up a bunch more resources, way more shields. He's looking very good going into the next zone.
Yeah, big play coming in through for Volks of RBK, who of course played in the World Cup Duos tournament alongside his duo partner, that's Parpy. They of course had a chance to boot camp in North America with their Trios partner as well. and are going to be moving to the United States here soon to be boot camping some more, thanks to Raised by Kings, their organization supporting them. So big shout to RBK, and of course Volks is looking to put RBK on the map in this tournament.
Yeah, and what an amazing opportunity for them to be able to go to North America with Raised by Kings and get that boot camp experience. It's really going to help them, if not in tournaments like these, just in the Cash Cups, if they do the Fortnite competitive series, you know, it's just gonna make them become better players, which at the end of the day is what all of these guys are striving for.
This will be a second elimination picked up for Drakens at the top left of your screen. So keep an eye on the different user interface or what's on your screen right now. At the top left is the elimination feed. Shows all activity in terms of eliminations or knockdowns. Of course, in the solos competition, no knockdowns here, but Drakens does pick up his second elimination. That's 2 points for the Brazilian.
Yeah, which is already pretty good considering there's still over 70 players alive. Getting those early eliminations is instrumental, especially when you're in this format, and every single point counts. You can see the crowd again going wild for Mr. Fresh Asian, who is rolling up on Will here. So we're gonna have to see, will a fight ensue?
Oh my God, she's been on a roll here, people, all weekend long with the puns. It is impressive. I gotta say, shout to my co-commentator Pookie, but Mr. Fresh Asian is out for hunger right now, trying to eat, and Will is his food, is his prey. Let's see if he can come out with an elimination here. That would be his second. And again, the aggression of Mr. Fresh Asian stands true. He knows he has Will weak. You can see Will's health points are a little bit hurt. Mr. Fresh Asian, meanwhile, has blue shield and green health points, but he's gonna get tagged up. This is a pretty rough spot for Mr. Fresh Asian. Will is now the aggressor. Mr. Fresh Asian needs to heal as fast as possible, as this will be a close one.
Mr. Fresh Agent down to 1 health. He was able to get 1 mini off, but is it going to be enough? Will is tracking, knows he did a ton of damage with that purple pump, and Mr. Fresh Asian has boxed up on the edge of the zone now. Will trying to use the harpoon gun to take out the floor, but Mr. Fresh Asian is going to use a cone to reinforce that. Is this going to end poorly for Mr. Fresh Asian? We're going to have to see. They've kind of backed off now, kind of feeling it out. It looks like a bug. Mr. Fresh Asian does still only have 1 health and 25 shield.
Oh my, and look at his inventory. Not many heals or shields, and actually no heals or shields in his inventory. So it's gonna be Mr. Fresh Asian with about 26 total health points going up against Will with maybe 33. An intense fight for sure. Neither of them have any ability to heal themselves. You wonder who's gonna come out on top. Mr. Fresh Asian went from being in such a great situation, but Will did a phenomenal job turning it around and regaining control.
Mr. Fresh Asian trying to bait him in here. It's going to come down to who...
Oh, he killed himself!
What?
Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me! He accidentally gets baited by Mr. Fresh Asian, jumps off the builds, and falls to his elimination.
Wow, Mr. Fresh Asian coming out with the hard bait there, just jumping on the side, trying to make enough noise, letting Will know where he was, but Will jumps off. The only unfortunate thing for Mr. Fresh Asian is that he's not going to get the siphon off of that. He's not going to get the 50 health that he otherwise would have, so he's going to have to rotate quickly and find some way to heal. Now we are over here at Nyrox again. Our duo's reigning champion at the World Cup in July. He is starting to rotate. Volks is trying to rotate as well, hitting materials, getting as many resources as he can. Ooh. Hits the shot onto Fury. He goes and rips his shield completely off. Volks, though, gets tagged as well. Look at all of these players in the bottom right. This is going to be a bloodbath.
This is what happens when you play the edge of the circle. When the storm closes in, you get into so many fights. Look at how many players are just gathered by that mountain right there. And one thing about Mr. Fresh Asian, not only did he not get the siphon, so when you get an elimination, you get 50 health, he also didn't get the elimination point. So he'll, of course, would have wanted to have that another way, but still, I'm sure he's glad to just survive. Still no heals, though, I don't believe. Meanwhile, we're on board with the 2 Australians, Volks and X2 twins, Jesse. A twin brother, Jordan, also competing in this tournament. They actually streamed together under the X2 twins account. It is awesome quality content gameplay on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, and you can see here, it looks as though all of the players had the same thing in mind. Go for the mountain, go for the high ground, try to get an edge up on their opponents, and I think a lot of them have bitten off a lot more than they can chew. So Volks now trying to look around him to see if he can get any kind of information as to where his opponents are going to be. He is sitting pretty low on his health, 107 in total health and shield. He needs a siphon to try and rotate into the next zone, or things are going to look very dicey for him very quickly.
That's a good call out. See how they decided to play. There's also something called Storm Surge in competitive Fortnite, where you have to do damage, otherwise you start getting tagged by the storm, even if you're inside the zone or the circle. So we'll see players trying to get some tags up. Of course, Volks hitting that sniper shot. We hit those, by the way, probably in a good spot. Also picked up an elimination. See all the building, how many players are so close, literally just towered one level above each other between Scarlet, Colt, and Jax. Jax participated last year in the Australian Open. I'm excited to see what Jax can do.
So many amazing players still left in this lobby. We haven't even come close to placement points yet. Still 61 players alive. Is one more going to be taken out? Symetrical using his build to try and get away from those shots, but now is also firing back. Unfortunately, he's only down to 43 AR ammo, so he is going to have to be very careful with how he uses those. Look at this stack of players right here. This is crazy. We're going to have to see where the next zone is going to end up, because for all of these players, this could spell disaster if they're all having to move at the same time.
That's a great call out. We were just watching Symetrical, as you said. Had a chance to meet his dad in the hotel lobby. Big shout out to the family members supporting. Benji Fish's mom, I believe, is also here. Great to see parents supporting their children doing what they love to do. Symetrical, of course, got signed by Counter Logic Gaming right after TwitchCon, a massive esports organization in North America. Congratulations to him on that. And meanwhile, Storm will be closing here soon, and players are already rotated to that next circle.
And you can see on the right-hand side the elimination feed up there, all the tallies. So Dracon's currently has 4, Worthy has 2, Cypher has 2 as well, Lynx has 2, Ghost Trapped has 2. A lot of players coming into these final zones with 2 eliminations, not too bad. So we're going to have to see how many more they can pick up. You can see Jesse down at the bottom, Volks down at the bottom. We're currently looking at Bob, and he is up on the high ground, has a ton of healing in his inventory as well as a ton of traps. So that's great for him, because as he's tarping out, as he's trying to actually get over into the next zone, he is going to be able to utilize those effectively, taking some shots out on Geese. So he actually ends up getting his shields ripped off as well. His play is looking very low. Unfortunately, Mr. Fresh Asian goes down. He didn't go into that fight with very much. Spraz takes him out, but only had to hit 1 pellet because he only had 3 health left anyway.
Yep, and that was probably the result of the fight earlier. So not a good situation for Mr. Fresh Asian. Very unfortunate for him to not have many heals and got stuck in that early game fight, which ended up costing him. Did pick up 1 elimination, so of course we have games 2 through 6 still to be played. He'll want to bounce back. Now on board with Worthy. 3 eliminations for Worthy right now.
Yeah, and just like that in the elimination feed, you can see that Spraz gets taken out as well. So even though he was able to take on Mr. Fresh Asian, he goes down himself. Again, taking a look at Worthy here, just boxed up, trying to use those edits, get the tags as much as you can. As much as you can damage your opponent going into the final rotations, your life is going to be so much easier because you're just not going to have to hit as many shots to take them out. We can see Brewery still in here, Zector over there as well. We've got Colt still in here, Scarlet. We've got a lot of players from OCE still in this. It's excellent to see.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Australia didn't show up like they wanted to at the World Cup. We had Blink and Co. maybe top 80, but not the placements they would have loved to have had. Slay, I believe, top 65 or top 70. So this is a big proving grounds and moment for the Australia-New Zealand region. Of course, the Asian region as well, who's here participating. Rory, one of those top players we saw yesterday come out with the Victory Royale, on board with Worthy from Australia. Starting strong with 3 eliminations. Tagging up phase replays, the Canadian from cross map.
Yeah, my poor Canadian. My heart goes out to him. Zextro having to build, but does take a lot of damage from Worthy. Worthy is just up there, just raining shots down. Nobody is paying attention to him, but he is able to get a ton of damage off. Storm Surge is likely not going to be affecting him at all. We have so many players still left in this lobby. If you take a look, the next zone, I predict about 20 players are going to fall just based on where they are.
Speaking of fallen, TSM Zexro from Long Island originally going to get taken out of this one. So Zex is out and Worthy is in with 4 eliminations. And a rough spot hit, they're going to headshot, but is not going to connect for the elimination. Worthy almost clutches up right there, but in a trading of eliminations there, Worthy did get taken out.
Yeah, he did. You can see that Jesse went down as well, so he's going to have to wait until the next game to prove himself today. We are sitting at 35 players left. We are not even close to the threshold. 25 is what you need to place or lower in order to be able to get any kind of placement points today in this lobby. Look at all of these players ready to make the early rotations to the next zone. You can see the zone just north. These are the moving zones. They are going to have to expend a lot of the resources, a lot of their materials, and getting those eliminations along the way to ensure that they're picking up the siphon as well as anything that their opponents are holding in their inventory.
So we have a pretty even distribution of regions right now. I saw Bell and Alice from Japan. Of course, we have many Australian and New Zealand players represented. Speaking of Bell, on board with the Japanese Bell right now. See what Bell can do with 0 eliminations, but trying to fix them up on the rotations. It's a good opportunity. People are tunneling and building which is basically using their builds and walls to build tunnels to survive into the next zone. And as they're tunneling, a lot of fights usually ensue. So they're going to try and pick up some limbs during this rotation. And as I say that, looks like some fights are going down towards the low ground. Meanwhile, aimbot.exe currently has high ground and finds Tina Rez. Tina from Gen G.
And look at all of these builds. This is an absolute mess for these guys to try to navigate, but this is what they're here for. This is what they're used to. Tina does drop down aimbot. Unfortunately, doesn't have any mats left. He was out.
Is that Myth?
Was that Myth? Oh, no, that was Tim. Tim Tatman's here.
Tim Tatman.
Yeah,
Tim's representing.
He's here competing today.
How many fall damage self-eliminations or eliminated by falls are we going to see in this one?
It's already
so far, yeah.
We should get a fall counter.
Yeah, fall counter on screen, please. Crazy.
Unfortunate to go out like that. Tina does go down as well. A great fight from her. She is going to get those placement points. Though we've got 21 players left in the lobby. CR Bell sitting on ultimate high ground. Benji Fishy is still alive?
Yeah, Benji just took out 1, so that's going to give him 50 sides, which he needed because he was low in health. Meanwhile, Symetrical from CLG takes out Bob. Yes, there's a player named Bob, which is one of my favorite gamer tags so far. On board with Bell, who has ultimate high ground. So ultimate high ground means they're the highest person on the map, which is a great position to be in because you're just raining down fire on the enemy. Symetrical playing with fire right now in the storm. Going to be healing up. But meanwhile, Nyrox from Norway, our World Cup Duos champion, still alive in this one as well.
Yeah, he's going to take a second to utilize the minis. He's only got 2 left, so those are going to be it for him. And CR Bell able to take out another player. Does get hit, but he is going to be able to recover very nicely. Again, this is going to be it for him. These players are getting down to their final resources. Their shields, their mats are completely expended at this point.
Yep, Cypher picking up another elimination. Bell's going to tag 1 up. I've been very impressed by Eshes, the young Australian, who's picked up quite a few eliminations here so far and is still going. Cypher, speaking of which, is going to get taken out. Symetrical now has ultimate high ground right above Eshes. Symetrical from CLG in a great position to win this one. Ghost trapped. The controller player from Ghost Gaming still alive, full health, full shields. It's going to come down to the wire, Pookie.
Yeah, and what I can see here is Nyrox, again, methodically just moving through everything. I'd be surprised if he doesn't actually end up taking this victory out right now. He still has the 2 medkits. Is he going to be able to get one off? We are going to have to see back to Bell, who is putting down those traps and using those to hopefully bait Nyrox. But unfortunately is going to take a ton of damage. Oh my goodness.
Trapped gets 1. The controller player is representing, but look who it is. CLG Symetrical with high ground. He's going to connect for the RPG. And the young NA West player is going to do it. His dad must be proud. The first game victory royale goes to CLG Symetrical.